Hey guys, so I'm out here hiking in the snow up at the cabin, and I thought I would go through a couple of the pros and cons of the CruzBike Vendetta. So let's get started. So one of the awesome things about the CruzBike Vendetta is it is really fast. I've actually got about 2,000 miles on the bike now, and what I'm finding is it does have a completely different speed profile. So if you are riding with a lot of upright riders, it's gonna be fast on the downhills and the straightaways, but the uphills is really that's where you're gonna match the speed of the group you're riding with. Another pro of this bike, and I think this is actually a pretty significant thing you ought to consider, it is much safer than an upright bike. I want to say in our club this year, we've had 2 broken collarbones, a separated shoulder, and both of those were from accidents that we had out riding. The one accident, one of them was from a dog running out, which actually happens quite often when you're riding out in the country. And then another was from a gentleman going around a corner downhill a little too fast. So another pro of this bike is you do get a lot of positive attention. And I think it's really neat when you're riding along, and you'll have a lot of kids comment and adults on how cool the bike is when they see someone actually riding it. Another pretty significant advantage of this bike is the lack of pain you're going to have riding it. I want to say the longest I've been on the bike at a continuous stretch is about 6 hours. And, you know, other than my legs hurting just from the burn of riding, there was no residual pain. As soon as you get off, there's no skeleton pain. I did have initially a little bit of neck pain, but that's just a matter of kind of getting the bike fitted to yourself. That's one of the big advantages, and actually that's one of the main reasons I was even looking at a recumbent. So one of the cons of this bike, or at least the first one that comes to mind, is when you're first starting out, it is like learning to ride a bike from scratch. And what I've realized from talking with other riders, it doesn't matter if you've already had recumbent experience. Because of that movable front bracket, it is completely different than even a recumbent ride. So I think if you're considering going to a recumbent and you're currently on a diamond or an upright bike, I would encourage you just to go straight to the CruzBike and get through that learning curve once, as opposed to going to a recumbent, learning that, because you're also going to have to fight through it again as you go to a CruzBike from another recumbent. So another con of the CruzBike is it is a little bit hard to judge your fitness level. And what I've learned, because you're so much faster than your typical fitness level on the downhills and the straightaways, I think it almost fools you into thinking that you're better than you are. So what I've learned on the uphill, at least, is where you can really judge how you're doing. So how fast you're climbing in regards to other riders, that is really how you judge your fitness level. So I think another con of this bike, and this is, I think it's more specific to a cruise bike. Some other recumbents may suffer from this, but that front tire is very critical, that you keep it well maintained. And ideally, my goal right now, what I've found is if I get a rapid flat or lose air on that front tire, I'm going down. So it's one of those things you just kind of learn to be very aware of. I'm much more careful about maintaining that front tire. I run sealant in it. I've actually gone to a tubeless setup with sealant to try to minimize the possibility that I would ever get a flat on the front. Hey, so another con of the CruzBike Vendetta, there is virtually no draft off the back of it. And I think a lot of you are going to be in the same situation I'm in. I ride with a lot of upright riders because we've got a very active club, and what I prefer to do is always stay in some kind of pack, especially when I'm riding on the road. I think it just makes you more visible, and it also gives you kind of a support group in case you do have a problem on the road when riding. One of the challenges, though, if someone does fall out of the peloton, a lot of guys will drop back and help them get back up into the group. And unfortunately, on this bike, you can't be a lot of help to other people to help them catch back up. So there you have it. That's kind of what I see as the pros and cons of the CruzBike Vendetta. it's a fun bike, and I enjoy riding it, and I'm looking forward to it being warm again. I have not enjoyed riding it in the cold, and in fact I haven't ridden since November. But I am signed up for a race in April, and I'm looking forward to getting out there and riding again. But hope this helps. If so, like this video, subscribe. I'm kind of all over the place right now, so I'm still figuring out what my YouTube channel is going to be about. I don't know if I'm actually going to settle on a theme or just kind of be all over the place. So anyway, if you guys have any other pros and cons you can think of, please leave them in the comments below. I would love to hear what you feel like is a kind of the pros and cons of the Vendetta.